Welcome everyone. Today we celebrate International Women's Day. This event is organized by the Luxembourg Maritime Cluster and hosted from Sofitel Europe Luxembourg. I'm Axelle Salvage and I'm really happy to be today with Julie Sottiaux, crew officer at Jan De Nul Group. Mrs. Sottiaux has nearly 90 years of experience in the maritime sector and she works for Jan De Nul. Today we will discuss about her experience in this sector, but also the new activities of Jan De Nul. Jan De Nul is a dredging company from Belgium. At the end of this video, we will have a Q&A sessions. So, Julie, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot to have accepted our invitation.
Thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure to be with you. So let's start. So, Julie, my first question is, what do you feel about being here today celebrating International Women's Day? And what does these celebrations mean to you?
To me, International Women's Day is a good time to reflect on the achievements that have been done by generations before us. It's also a time to think of the path that have been done already, and also a time to pause and to think of the inequalities that remain and the efforts that still need to be done for more inclusion and diversity in our societies. Mm-hmm. And then on a more personal point of view for today's invitation, I was very flattered when you invited me for these capsules about women in the shipping industry. I understood this is the first one on this special day, but it won't be the last one. So I was very flattered. Thank you again for inviting me.
You're welcome. We are really happy to do this first interview with you because you are really implicated in the cluster. So thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
So the second question is, I can imagine that a lot of change happened in the maritime sector in the past 20 years. Could you talk a little bit about your experience? How did you start?
Me joining the dredging industry is quite a succession of coincidences, actually. I will give first a little feedback about myself, an introduction. I grew up in Arlon, which is very close to here. I'm a French speaker at home. I've got double nationality, Belgian and Luxembourgish, through my Luxembourgish ancestors. I had the chance to grow up in a loving family with very strong role models as parents. My father was a traveler and my mother could combine a rich professional life as a doctor as well as being a mother of 4. So these are very good role models for a young woman to grow, and it helped me, I think, become what I've been today. So after having studied for Master in Applied Economics at the University of Namur in Belgium, I was looking for a job, applying mainly a little bit as yourself in marketing and communication field, and also I enrolled in some temporary staffing agencies. And one of them called me while I was at a restaurant with my parents. And they said, well, we have this dredging company that's looking for a administrative assistant quite rapidly. The interview would be this afternoon already. We know it's not directly in your field, but because you speak different languages, maybe it would be a good first experience. Then I said to my parents when I accepted the interview for the afternoon, I said, what is dredging? My father, as a traveler and well-educated man, he could chat me up a little bit about what dredging is and who Jan De Nul Group is. And so I arrived at the interview. The lady that opened the door and had to make the interview was actually a knowledge of mine from back in university. So she said, well, I know this is not directly what you're looking for. You're overqualified for this job. It's here for a receptionist/secretary work. I said, well, you know, it's a first experience. I'm happy to take it. And so I did. It was supposed to be for a week. A week became 2 weeks, which became a month. And after a month, the financial director of DMM in Steinfort asked me if I wanted to keep on working for Jan De Nul as a permanent employment. Well, I told him not as an administrative assistant, but if he would consider me for other function related to my skills, I would be happy to think about it. And so I started as a financial administrator in Steinfort in Luxembourg. After a few months, we had again an opportunity. They needed somebody in French speaking for a project abroad. And I thought that if I wanted to grow up in the company, I didn't exactly yet understand everything that dredging was, but by being able to go on site, I would get the chance to experience what it is and experiment dredging. So I thought it's a good way, if you want to grow up in a company, to know what it is doing. And so I accepted to leave to France for this first job. After France, I was approached for doing a replacement of a colleague of mine in Italy. There again, because of the languages I speak. And a project led to another one. I spent 3 years. The project in Italy was an engineering phase for a long project in Russia. And the area manager there was happy of my skills again, and decided for me to join for the next phase in Russia. After that, it's just one project led to another one. I went to South America and then to Far East Asia and also Middle East. So it's only after 12 years of being abroad that I decided to come back to Luxembourg. I joined again financial department as a desk administrator. I was managing some companies in Germany and in Dubai, and also helping junior accountants to be launched on project, start project and end project, where an administrator is not needed on site anymore. After a year back in Luxembourg, by a coincidence, I was approached to join a crew department. It was something I didn't know what it was. It was a nice move. I had to master much more maritime law and all the diplomas that are needed for somebody to be on board of a vessel. It's a very rich and versatile job. You never know what waits for you in the morning when you open your mailbox. And my experience from abroad is helping me every day to understand what the guys are actually going through and doing. So this is a little bit my parcours so far at Jan De Nul.
Well, it's really impressive. I think it's amazing, really amazing. And you seem to you did a lot of things with this company, with Jan De Nul Group. So was it ever difficult for you to be a woman in this sector of activity, or you was considered like?
It was never really difficult for me to, I never felt it was difficult for me to be a woman. I think the fact that I was a scout helped me much more, because you need some sense of adventure and organization. So this one, I think, if more than being a woman, being someone that dares and is not afraid of adventure, I think was more the reasons why I could grow up and keep on being in the company. It's true that in the beginning there weren't so many women doing the job I was doing abroad. There were a few engineers, one or two I think, that were women when I started. But when I finished my experience abroad, there were much more women already involved in all different departments, in survey department, in environmental department, also in engineering. So yes, the project teams feminized the last years of my career abroad.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So did you see a change? You said there is more women now than before. So
yes, there is a change. I think also this comes from the fact that probably 20 years ago, there were not so many women graduating from engineering studies, for example, and now there are more women graduating, and then as such, I think the different functions in the company will feminize. Of course, I'm not talking about the positions in the office, because when I have a look at who was present in the office 20 years ago in Steenvoort, in our accounting department and in our HR department, this is a normal ratio, men and women, like every other company, and like it's almost parity.
Okay, nice. It's good to know. And you also said that your languages was a plus for you, so it's already really great, because not everyone talk so many languages, I think. Do you have a particular anecdote you would like to share with us?
Yes, being a French speaker has helped me, but it also doesn't serve you very well when you're in dredging business. For those of you that don't know, in French, dredging is translated by draguer and has a double meaning. It means to try to seduce somebody or to hit on somebody. So I will remember forever the first time I went to buy my safety shoes. I was in a very big shop for safety equipment, and I asked for safety shoes, and the guy said, well, do you want the white ones? You're a nurse. I said, no, I'm not a nurse. I do not need the white ones. Do you need the dark blue ones with heels, because you're probably in aviation sector? I said, no, I need the big black fat ones that almost look like boots. I'm going on a vessel, on a dredger. And then he said, well, what is then your job? I said, well, I work for a dredging company. Which he translated, of course, to the second meaning. And he said, well, so miss, I guess you're just a professional flirt. And it always gave me a smile on my face, thinking that in my language, my job is being a professional flirt. So it's kind of a funny one. It will be the anecdote for today.
Yeah, really nice one. And I have a last question before to talk a little bit more about Jan De Nul. So if you have to choose your best memory during your life as an expatriate, what would it be?
Rather than picking moments, I guess I would probably choose the people I could share these moments with. The first person I think of, obviously, would be the fact that abroad I met my husband, and he's also now the father of our 3 children. So this one and all the experiences we could have together abroad is probably nice. The birth of our 3 children abroad, all of them, one in Peru, one in Panama, the other one in Qatar, is also something that's probably to pin. So I guess, yes, more of the experiences, all the persons I could meet and make this experience with, and a lot of friends that we kept everywhere in the world. And on a more professional point of view, I guess the freedom that you have as a young professional already, you're given a lot of trust to start and manage a branch abroad for Jan De Nul. And this freedom is something that I really appreciated all through my career. It's probably this one on a professional point of view.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Really interesting. So now we will talk a little bit more about Jan De Nul Group and the new initiative developed by the company. So you told me that you are ambassador for the FIT initiative. It's something really new that Jan De Nul developed last year?
2 or 3 years ago, yes.
Okay. So FIT, it's an acronym, right? So
correct.
Yes. So what does it mean?
FIT initiative is an acronym, it's correct. It stands for Food, in Balance and Training and Sports. It is an initiative from employees for employees. The idea is to create bridges between different departments and develop the well-being of the employee. For food, we, for example, have some toolboxes about healthy lunch or the benefits of tea, things like this, person that come to talk to you. For the imbalance, we have different type of initiatives. For example, we have put in place some yoga lessons during lunchtime in the office. We also have a neurologist that came to talk about the importance of sleep. Different type of initiatives to promote the imbalance and so the well-being. Also, we have family days for the employees, and it's a very nice day to meet all families in a nice setting. And then the training and sport is all sports that you could do. For example, we do the smart run with when it's taken place in Kapellen in our industry park. So this is a way to help Jan De Nul stay and keep on being one team, because the company, and here especially in Luxembourg, the difference is quite big from when I joined the company almost 20 years ago. We were in an apartment building in Steinfort. It was very small. I guess we were like 10 persons, and now we are, you've seen our offices, it's quite big and large, and we do not especially know each other anymore. So having activities and titles to meet again and to create links through different departments. The offshore engineering could be together with you at the yoga lesson and would be somebody as well from accounting department. So it helps us create new memories together, and this is very important.
Yes, totally. It's really important to create some links, like a community, or even in big families. So because it's a family.
It's a family business. Yes, it is.
Talking about the company, would you like to address other initiative plans for this year or the future?
I guess the company evolves, and so Jan De Nul is not only the dredging industry I talked about. It's also, and it also has been a long time, civil works and environmental works. But lately, I find we put a lot of focus in the offshore industry as well, and the energetic transition. So we are building new vessels that are that will be able to install the next generation of wind turbines offshore, and this is something that we more and more focus on. So I think this will be probably the initiatives developed in the near future.
Really interesting. And if you have to choose only 2 or 3 words to describe the company, what would they? Our
philosophy has been, well, we have there is a new philosophy at Jan De Nul. We have 2 or 3 years ago as well. We had big stickers arriving everywhere in our company, and only 3 words: imagine, think, and act. And it's a philosophy Jan De Nul really tries to develop on everyday basis. So, for example, when a client is coming to you, you're not just going to answer his question, you're going to imagine new ways or slight changes that could be brought in to maximize and to do new things. For example, reuse some dredge material for something else, planting mangrove in dredge soil, things like this. After this, we will think about the impact of what we are doing and think of making the thing we imagine how could they become possible, and then finally we act and we bring them to a good end. So I think the 3 words that could really summarize what Jan De Nul is for the moment is imagine, think, act.
Okay, yeah, it's really nice because it's something that we can do for our daily life. So now we will start our Q&A sessions. Some of you wrote some questions, so we will answer to them now. So the first one, it's a little bit long. So the maritime sector accounts for 2% of Luxembourg GDP, a very close industry, and in theory, a world of men. The ditch was even more significant 20 years ago when you started. You explained to us why you got interested in this activity in your early days. Thank you for sharing your experience.
Thank you.
Now, do you take into account the ratio of men, women when you recruit? Is there any parity in your team?
No, there is not. In my team, there is no parity. We're 9 women and 2 men. So it's the other way around. Great team, by the way. I wave to them. In the offices, I think the ratio would be a normal one. I think lately the company feminized, as I said, a lot. We have very strong women in key positions. Our international division, the manager of the international division is a woman. We have also in insurance, in board of directors, we have lots of women. As I said, I think it is possible for a company to feminize only if there is an influx of person that come, and for graduating students, the choice needs to be made also for this sector. So this could be eventually a barrier. Whereas on board of the vessel, this, I must admit, this is mainly still a men's world. And the reason for this, I think, is linked on the specifics of the work. Working on a dredger is quite heavy on a physical point of view. For example, if you're working on board of a cutter dredger, you have to change the teeth of the cutter head quite regularly, and only one tooth is weighing, I guess, 35 to 50 kilo, and you have a few of them to lift and repair. So I guess there again, in nautical studies, the percentage of women graduating will be less, and they will not directly choose for a career on board of a dredger. So I guess there it's still a men's world, but for the rest, you know,
okay,
it's.
I understand. So the second question is, I think it's really interesting one. How did you manage to balance family life with important professional responsibilities when you were abroad?
In the very beginning of my family life, when it was only my husband and I, it was quite easy because he's working in the same field. So we were just making a lot of hours, and it was never a problem for either of us. When our children arrived, the only way I could make it work is having great help around me. We had the chance of having a nanny that was following us all through the different countries that we traveled as from the moment we had children, and she stayed with us until we came back to Europe. So this one was a great help, and then of course having staff when you're somewhere, having a cleaning ladies and a gardener to help you, because this is true that working 70 plus hours a week is not really easy, and the remainder of your time you want to spend it as quality time with your family. So being helped is, I guess, is the motto here. Yeah.
We would like to know what languages did you speak before joining the company, and what languages did you learn with this mission abroad?
So I speak French. This is my native language. I studied in my high school. I studied German. This was the second language. I studied English as well as a third language at school. I left for a year exchange student in America when I finished my high school. I did an Erasmus in Germany, so these languages were really the ones I mastered. I took some evening lessons of Italian because I always loved the language. It's like a song to my ears. When I joined Jan De Nul, so these were the languages I was speaking, and I didn't master Dutch at all. Well, I picked it up with the amount of years I spent at Jan De Nul. This made my German become quite scarce because I don't speak it anymore, and you need to speak a language in order to maintain it. I speak Spanish. There again, my Italian is quite bad nowadays. Spanish I really mastered because we were posted quite long in South America. And then I made a point really to be able to talk and get in contact with the locals wherever I was. So I picked up Russian. It was very difficult, but I could manage to have a very good taxi and restaurant Russian to be understood. Then I picked up some Bahasa Indonesia when I was posted in Indonesia, and lately when I was in Qatar I learned Arabic. So, but again, this is on the moment, and when you're surrounded, you can practice it every day, just small words. But now it's probably all gone.
It's really great. It's like you have skill in 7 languages.
Something like, yeah, I never counted.
It's really huge. And just before to close this interview, I have a last questions. What would you like to say to a young woman? Maybe she's watching us today, who would like to start her professional life in the maritime sector or in any sector of activities. Do you have any advice to give?
I guess you have to believe in yourself. You have to try experiences. As I said, I started by a matter of coincidence in this industry, so a first step somewhere is sometimes a good one. Believe in yourself there. Try to be proactive rather than reactive. This is an important one, and will probably sound like my mother, but this is a very nice piece of advice she once gave me, is try to act so that the next morning when you get up, you're proud of what you see in the mirror. I think this is a very nice piece of advice.
I think it's a great word to finish this interview, so thanks a lot.
You're
Julie.
welcome. Thank you very much.
And as it's International Women's Day, we would like to give you this flower.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I love our kids.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's International Women's Day, but we would like also to thank you for your participation and your time. So it's why we want to give you, if I can, this puzzle. This puzzle symbolizes 30 years of maritime law. We celebrated last year, so it's a little gift from the Luxembourg Maritime Cluster.
Thank you very much. I will be looking forward to see new capsules of other women in the sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.